The family council as family government. Okay, on a previous video, I talked about defining the weak family. Basically, what I wanted to do was define what, according to my definition, what a weak family is. You can check out that video in order to get the details. But long story short, I consider a weak family to be a family that has no structure, no organization, and therefore they have no coordination and no cooperation. Basically, families that don't work together in order to accomplish things is what I would define as a weak family. Of course, those of us who are not interested in just settling for having a weak family, we have to do something different from what they do, right? So if I go to our mission statement, family council, our mission statement for our family is, our mission is to build a wealthy and powerful American family. So, of course, if we're interested in becoming wealthy and powerful, then we definitely are interested in being the opposite of what a weak family is. So we have to be clear about what the weak family is, and we have to be clear about what they do and make sure that we are not doing the same things that weak families do. We have to do something different if we want to be something different, all right? So that basically brings us back to the title of this article. The family council as family government. Now the question would be, why would anybody be interested in forming a family government? So we would be interested in forming a family government for the same reason that a state forms a state government, a city forms a city government, and that the country forms a national government. We have to have a entity that is in charge of solving problems for the family, right? So we don't think that only national government, the national country should have national governments. We don't think that only cities should have city councils. We don't think only states should have state governments. We think that families should also have governments if they are interested in becoming strong families. Somebody has to be able to create order out of chaos, and you have to be able to sit down and have a deliberate entity whose job it is to do so. Now, following the example of many elite families, many of the best families in this country, and not just in this country, but on the planet, we have formed what we call a family council. This is not something that we've made up. A family council is something that exists already, and I'll read a definition offline. A family council is a leadership and governance forum that exists to help an enterprising family achieve its mission and important goals by way of these activities: creating compelling family values, mission, and vision statements, which clarify the family's important principles, purpose, direction, and key objectives. Long story short, the family council is the family government, and it is the body within the family whose job it is to create a mission for the family and see to it that the family is moving towards that mission. So a family council as a family government is the main body that coordinates the family's activities into the accomplishments of the goals and objectives that the family say it sets out to achieve. So if I want to talk a little bit about the family council within the context of our family, basically, if you want to look at it in a plain English definition, it's just the adult members of the family who have decided to take on a leadership role, right? So there is a formal definition of it, but essentially, when you talk about the people in the family who sit on the family council, it is the people who want to take on a leadership role in the family, the people who understand that there are problems and they are willing to step up and be problem solvers, or at least part of the solution to these problems. And the family council is just a group of adult family members who have come together to do that as a team, all right? So it doesn't have to, we don't have to make this harder than it needs to be. It's just a group of family members who have come together to say, we are the ones who are going to make decisions for the family. We're the ones who are going to collect information about the problems that the family faces, and we're going to come together to figure out how we're going to solve these problems. So next, I want to talk a little bit about the purpose and the structure of our family council in particular, right? Because like I say, you can have 100 different families, and if some of these families, many of these families have decided to create family governance structure, no two families will be exactly alike. So I'm going to talk a little bit of detail about the family council within our specific context, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the purpose and the structure of the family council as it operates within our specific family, okay? Well, the first thing that the family government needs to come together and do is to decide the mission of the family. What is it that we want to come together and accomplish? Right. Most people's families are made up of, loosely associated individuals who are basically operating as individuals and not really as a team. Now, if we're going to make the distinction that we're going to come together as an organized family and work together as a team, we have to set a specific mission in order to give that some meaning, right? So what is it that we're coming together to do? We're not just coming together to look at each other. We're not just coming together to eat a holiday dinner together. We are coming to achieve some great goal, some great objective, and we have to set that goal and objective very deliberately as the family's mission. And for our family, we have set a deliberate mission, and we said that our mission is to build wealth, to build a wealthy and powerful American family. So we want to build wealth, we want to build power, and that is our mission. Okay. Now the reason that a mission is important because the mission is going to influence the structure of your government, right? So, and I'm going to talk about the details of that in this video. So specifically talking about our family, if we have a mission of building wealth and building power, then we need to understand what power is made up of, right? And we think that power is made up of three things: financial capital, intellectual capital, and social capital, meaning your money, your knowledge, and your connections. We think that when a family adds up all of the money that they have, all of the wealth that they have, all of the knowledge that they have, all of the connections and influence that they have, that equals their total power, right? So we say financial capital to represent the money and wealth aspect. We say intellectual capital to represent the knowledge and skills aspect, and we say social capital to relate to the connections, your network, your influence, etc. So when all of those things get added up, we think that equals power. And since we are interested in building our power, we have organized our government in a way that will allow us to do so. So if we want to build financial capital, then we have created a financial capital committee. We want to build intellectual capital, so we have created an intellectual capital committee. We want to build social capital, so on and so forth. So this is the structure of our family council. Our family council is the top level governing body. But in order for us to do work and reach our goals and objectives, we have had to break this top level governing body down into subcategories. And these subcategories are the ones that I just went through. And we chose these based on the family mission. So all of this flows through from A to Z. The logic makes sense. We come together as a family, we select a mission, and then we structure our government in a way that will allow us to accomplish that mission. This same way of moving forward can be chosen by any family who has decided to come together and create a mission. People, each and every family doesn't have to have the same mission, but the process of turning that mission into government, using that mission to structure your government is a very consistent process. So even though the people don't have to be having the same mission, they can use the same thought process of developing their government, starting with the mission. Okay, so the last thing I'll talk about is the actual activities of the family council. And like I said, the activities of the family council will basically, in a practical sense, be carried out through initiatives that have been created by the committees of the family government, right? So like I said, these three committees of the family government will now, each one of these committees in our family has a committee head, and then there are other members on the committee who help the committee head come up with initiatives and things that need to happen under that particular category as it relates to the family. For example, one thing that happens under one of the financial capital initiatives for us is to create a consolidated family financial statements, which includes income statements, statements of net worth, etc. So if you have to, and if you understand, if we're going to create consolidated financial statements, we first have to collect the individual financial statements from everybody in the family. So this is one of the things that the Financial Capital Committee will be in charge of doing, collecting individual or couple budgets from each of the family members, and then eventually aggregating all of that information so that the family can see, okay, what is our financial capability? How much money do we have coming in as a family? How much wealth do we already own as a family? So that's just one initiative under the Financial Capital Committee. The Intellectual Capital Committee would do similar things under their category, and the Social Capital Committee would do the same. The point is, first and foremost, the family has to come together to create the governing structure. Like, if you want to create order out of chaos, you need a governing structure. And then once the family comes together and creates that governing structure, you have to create a mission, and then that mission will determine the specifics of the subcategories of the governing structure, right? So based on the mission that you're trying to accomplish, you will know the type of committees that you need in your governing structure, and then you will move from there in order to implement initiatives that help the family move toward the mission.